yetime have baby abefa bia nkrofo se nnwuma ne krom NDC party for na nkasa no esu se nnwuma ene krom utie President Mahama or say 1 job 3 shift 3 people 24-hour economy. This was the promise any initiative aban yes or they be creating nnwuma jobs edi ama Ghana for mebuno dodo na edi na aban yi ba ye waye dedi kan aban yi ba ye no what secretariat eno na ye in charge of the 24-hour economy. Ura Guzitano ana eda eye secretariat no ano secretariat no President Mahama charge womo say womo puti the policy framework ni bibia no together na womo nkyere kwan implementation no yebetimi afa so a yebeye no ewo mu na ebeto odwa so yehia sika butin bi a yebetim di ahyase over $4 billion ana yepese ye 24-hour economy ni ye ni year yebehia eno ho nkomodie budget allocation bi akokọ okoso de ade a then finally aban ni ye na dwen se esese we establish the 24-hour authority enti emra esese ebo achidom no omo akomra hye bedwam ma san hyehyɛ ni nyinaa no yetimi aye by law esese 24-hour authority no establish na afi yehwese adwuma esese womo ye na womo rolling out the policy plan of the president and the government party in power nei no omo timi are rolling it out. But the question is that why is it taking too long for aban wey a flagship promiser womo de ma Ghana fo nyina dodo na no hwe animu se anka no ba ebetimi atene niema around. Enti very important say anope yebedi sa ankomo no again there happened here last year in my belief the mimi gidi no say aban setting the priorities ade bia ehia aban ade bia aban de na adwen basis no obetimi aye. And we remember say aban yi ba ye few months time ana yeti gold board emra na say ta gold board na chi wo mo ye ni nyina yehu ahokeka eni mrika aban ne de implemented the gold board promiser omo de promise Ghana for ene ye ni baby a gold board no ho adwuma ne bibia nso ababesi. The question is that edi entia Ghana for na ehwe ni mu say 24-hour economy no ebefri ase aye adwuma no it looks as if say we are not seeing much of it as a hun komodie ni kra no akwakoye bibia wo ho. But this is the promiser omodema Ghana for of Akwasi Addai Odike maji
ya nua
na empomo to say
me nua me ho ye na so
trade ampo adaroma me ho ye pa na ye ma ya konso okwa yie na ba
makwa aba no nso man tem nka me che na sa ne nipa nante wasase so ma chiri ma mienu awu me nem na ye adwuma ye
ne woti yie na to bo ase sa fe no aba ukọ ye afe no aba last week wa ama
da bi o mama ye se oba kwa adwa no cha no ye no yie me kwa kwese me nua me nim sa mo kra mo de bia bus committee ye na smetment ye se onua for bus na besi ave me to awrewo me twa bani atwa na gro ayi
o na rezo fa kasi entime ba but o twa anko an ho
na ade to unuani a no no an eyi o
ai
na
eye de koja
wo da mansan ko
ai me de edu ha beba
but ai na me busa ebojai me de bia mo befrem bia
akonya ne ba onim se me
o se fia akra no senya yiye ya me ntumu da
dabi
e che hawa me sie me niama
ana last week bnadan so me hu se owo Kumasi Sami Jemfiase the 1 week
me de obia ho kan I am serving the good people of this country and the Almighty God for God and country.
Oh yeah, dear. Na me inshallah. Akwaba nso.
Yeah, nua.
My George Krobea Asante achi na me man Akwaba, Deputy Director of Communication NPP. George,
me nua ma film me ba ha che.
Me te won ka che. Kwan pacho momre of a paper ne pen wa me srem.
There be a me who I just say metal voice and I want to know. Nancy, why and Nakakra.
Oh, Zamo.
Every say why feed us or do a see you say game perform and do a see you. I mean, but the truth of the matter is, metal when there be a. You know, my main fact when you so na menchia Ghana fuete unia FM anopai. Na menchia the next president, and then I clear. His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
Dr. Bawumia be president.
The next president of the Republic. At the end of the day, Ghana ni be a hwehwese kandinia obinya kwanya na wabano. One say speaker, say wo born to ade obeka na obi abiti you. The obeka bia na ene Ghana no nsentro for madaroma. Ene new media ba inti na kurase ni ba bia o. Me ma mitimi eti news bi no afrɛ me na bi kura me ofa me nte. When I'm TikTok sa.
Information
era. Yes, the people doesn't struggle to have information. Eti wo on our adwene mu no free say enu a me won obi send video bi ma me say ababa wa bi asa no oye sign. O my penyiri kan say o de obekwa kotubo ho ewo kokufuo mu no de polytankers so and a TikTok omu didi o man penyiri ho agoro say na me hwe video na am say enepa de era ye wo mu you free say you politician. Now you want to take the people for granted. I mean, you are just taking yourself and I will say. But the people are much informed. Speak out to the mission.
Yes.
It's in an opportunity, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and I'm actually, Nehokeni, Yemami, Hajia Samira Bawumia. Now, me more Yemra Shebeja for Nabaso, Honorable Afenyo Markin, the mighty minority leader, or Nini Honorable Kojo Ponkro Masamia Uku, and Yemra Shebeja for Honorable Patrick Yabuama, the leadership in Parliament, or minority side. Miami Nuya are not done pray, the minority chief whip, Juma or born in Nuya Habib, Yamami Patricia Piaget, the entire leadership group and as a leadership or minority, no, any MPs Nina, Mimubudi being free. MP Pia this ninth parliament, right?
Yeah,
Okahona or minority side, no, Charlie. Or deserve say man I standing ovation because they are holding the majority accountable. No more holding the government accountable. I mean, and no Rama Shebe Jama majority and no minority. Clearly, what it means is it is not just an issue of numbers. It is an issue of people that are ready, people that understand policies near. And she say, I would want near my the Bamra Shebe Jam see any word you man. I mean, speaker baby I know say no umfa parliamentary discussions in Niagara, you monitor them. And if we all want to be sincere, you say the set of MPs are MPP are produce our mom this ninth parliament, you know, your top-notch quality. Your top notch quality compared with our more counterparts. And meaning clear, right from budget debate, any time will be no more parliamentary discussions near here deliberations are clearly no one said the input coming from the minority group no I am top niche. It's you know of how you introduction the year. Mr. Last week Mr. Speaker me papa. I mean me papa free my stepdad. Yeah,
now me make about 2 minutes.
Speaker Krabsha when you want to me am about aja. Me do cover continue so what be shame to me aja. Atika. And often so they me blame in fact many pass over and me and send invitation am.
Bema. We dey want to invite them message am there. Me atika bi.
Of am me money so wo. And often so invite me on the international on so atika. It is speaker so
was Saturday dodge.
Your friend atika no. We do this agro ni bia. Atizo atika of here as agro no. Mr. Speaker, you better be discussing the 24-hour economy. I think that is the discussion.
I want to make sure she free. Make sure she free of us. Of Mamintio for 10 minutes. Na 24-hour economy, no. You know what it is, Mamintio.
You, Mr. Speaker, me that say. The Dikano, a bra na MPP who aye a Kufuor pension. Na every policy from John Mama Hono was welcomed by the angry citizens of this country. The John Mama sorry ya no to be biagum. Ni gusu se pam. I was the only person I'm can say you Mama. Me pewa sempa respect you. But 24-hour economy now with the one no boss no. It will never see the light of the day. Mr. Speaker, have you come to thought of it? 24-hour economy. To your understanding, what's the definition of 24-hour economy?
Me understanding. What I feel and know is as I say, economy running 24 hours. Actively, no industries, as I say, Juma 24 hours. And no.
And what necessitated the running of 24-hour economy? And then the prompt to say, I will say, economy be running 24 hours.
I said, America say a new mano air running for the new mano air operate here. The idea no near draining is and says or moda and says or mopon, right? And Tidebiano continuously as I said production a year.
24-hour economy is simply a demand-driven economic environment where goods and services from a particular source is being patronized heavily. A yenshaya, a babra demand, abad yebiswa, a pushy the supplier say obey double the production. It by so doing, you know, obey employ more hands and automation. And so I am and yeah, economy way import driven economy. Baby, I want to hear the reverse, the opposite of 24-hour economy. Etina, yera mama, now it was a political rhetoric. It says, oh, drag it, what is it? Baby, secretariat, laws, authority, because we don't have the demand demand on our products. There's no demand. We would rather over depend on other 24-hour economies elsewhere. It's here, Mama, that or Kaina, Sabra NDC for I would decay, I say, Mahama, and a Mama can't summon no decay, son, and no, I'm saying. Me need any paduachi. Me drink. Germany crana. We are heavily industrialized. We are only 8% of 24 hours. Only 8. If your mama made it to look like say at the nation bottom, I know baby yamai. But it's a process, it's a deliberate policy of a nation. And a manifesto, and a partisan. It should be a national policy agenda for the entire country.
But is it not the right part under President Bahama and near buying Namson? Say as a policy, near deliberate policy, at least and common shall say, I mean, policy document, or more prepare Ediaba. Is it not right, sir? You better document in the more dear airca. Now, you shall say you bet me a building on it.
But make us some back control. Maybe see union government. I really the best philosophy. Ebe multi-party democracy free. My strong book and Kufuor bring access to the book. My pass the information to the people. I will be a person on your copy no scrutinizing on. Or me no can say constitutional review for one more 10 copies of my my brainchild. I did not go for one the blueprint of 24-hour economy. One day euphoria. I'm not to Obama woman. I found walk on the cheek. I got power nipa. Omu never be presented to us. The afterthought. I've known a public sector redistribution. It's a passport, a police. Why? Ghana need a passport within a space of 6 months. What will be the next job of passport office? If we are to push passport office into redouble their production, say 32 million people, no, and Quadanim Penny, may come in album. That man said, currently, we have 1,000 copies a day. So, somebody had 3,000 copies per day. 3,000 within 6 months. I was going to need a passport. It's a passport office a 24-hour production. Now got a Libyan passport we are. What will be the next job of passport of?
I said there be a go so wonipa.
That's what I make a million say.
Make you say over.
May say yeah 32 million.
Yes, for now.
Say yes, what is the need to continuously
run 24 hours?
24 hours. Because yourself will be away. So one more band crab bar and kakra. Oko 20 minutes kwa bit me yuma. Ave say grow 24. Why ne ko duane and I do the show. Ebi say as you get yase dey wo mo so na de fabricators uko chesa mi wo koto konfa kranshim ama so na masuchina menya prophet of doom. It was a lie.
How can it be a lie? It was a promise. But the one I'm want to no mugo so a
my brother,
it is more of a question of you miss I say one more yen is saying and a brand kwa neko. But okay say it is a lie. Yeah, I disagree.
Massa. Look,
over.
China deliberately took 50 years to do this. And yet one day, any event. Said the mama say you won't say event. Yes, sanity. It should be a national policy whereby all the people will get the buy-in. Explanation and then your fault. It is all your fault. Because the buy community me explaining. Now many NDC say explain to me to my best understanding to get the buy-in of 24-hour economy to me. And companies be look. Tell her for say you do bro your bread. Now for piata put pressure on them to run 24 hours for a short period. Christmas Eve. Tell any be busy. Obia kono kopane niama. It will almost extend womu production into midnight and roll it
purely no person will say a demand issue.
A demand driven economic environment.
Demand be honoma company no may decide they say obey overstay aye juma throughout the night. But in context, a buying person say I mean, we need not to say yeah, my demand number. We must first of all create the demand.
How do you create demand?
Demand in over there
how do you create demand? I didn't create demand. Say one district one for Nana Akufo-Addo shall say one of the components are a the special purpose vehicle to drive 24-hour economy. Oba wajago.
I don't know Papa Ben no.
The idea say you industrialize Ghana no. It was a step in the right direction. Me criticize Akufo-Addo say the way I go about
1D1F.
And not the right way. Alan Chamate frame. I'm a Minister of Trade. I command lectures in front of all the workers. Yeah, but some mammy, man fine yaduma. Me pusa Chamate so much the Jubilee House. Mammy, gifty kunadu. Or Henry Kunadu or something. You be in office for Jubilee House and the president at the corner. Every day, now me catch him say, "I come first to say no. The policy is good, but it lacks implementation. Clear. Omo the politics ne sa ya ne yabanya ba se mu no. Yana anya you. Look, if you want to do one district one factor, first thing, every district and yama bang and you add the value about the fantasy of the people. A dear Ben, Yayan and Ketingatia, see a bemwa, and go for any jump by Yan Dodo. How do we go about it? Then, tomato, Yakafri Burkina. How are we going to mitigate its importation and then do what we call first import substitution? After what share a command what share what do we call it? A flam plains, all those areas. Then we come to the drawing table. Look, you who say all year round tomato production. I will say tutu boho. I will say umunfunu. na ye rete reservoirs ye benya ade a friend no solar pump machine na ya boost water flow of water throughout the whole year. Afei yes no, then we must find market for the products. Eti yenkosi tomato factory, but before then your hybrid you process it, and your tomato your variety you process it. Eti fiber content high on fiber in fiber content maybe 90%. Yen farmer phone in here.
Okay.
Then we build the factory. Factory no. Esa wonderful or no factory no. No industrial farm. Na ya keti outgrower scheme. It woman mo ya no at the air can na wonyam volumes. Betima processing. Ekobasa ekwafo no ya small scale no. Woman already market the factory no. Ya de kwa e motor. It decide ya so yanya me do 10 acre. Me ko 20 acre. No mo so bem na factory ni bem na ko ave tomato na ya kraba no afa na ba be say look mo am school feeding na no ontom tomato free this factory.
Okay. All right.
Now so, create demand for it.
Of a mesa ba subim. Na me visa okay. Mesa ba subim. Ma membra Krobea. So Krobea ma mintie.
Speaker.
Before that, my member citizen action na me mana kwaba. Citizen margin.
Mr. Speaker, me jodo.
Na empombo ko there.
Yeah, sure they am be.
Okay. Krobea ma mintie.
Mr. Speaker. That's it. You see, when we are discussing issues, it borders on Enuma. As I was by even when before I started showing, no, I didn't come about the need as a pressure or town. And ranting and my one be brain. And I always say, Ghana for Mabunu, they are not lazy people. Speaker, because when you travel across the country, now could share the kind of Enuma, the young men and women in this country, for survival. There is no way anybody can convince me that Ghana for ranting and Mabawa and Pejuma. That is never true. And to which I brought born to Anna, build up to elections 2024. Yera Mahama, knowing very well, say a generational problem. What I say a Numa, and it is not even just in Ghana, but just a Ghana situation here west. All over the world, employment are a topical issue, even in advanced economies like the US, Germany, and it so bad after COVID. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. It means that idea. Sa adwene no say, oh, what's the speaker? Say, oh, situation be more. Na obi bana or this situation in Hong Kong wa. It is extremely difficult. Say, obe avete wa adwene akọ the other issues surrounding that problem. All you care for then they say, once the person has been able to identify the problem you find yourself in, you see, identification of a problem is half
so.
It's Ghanaian youth, and I can agree with them. Because Mr. Speaker, I want to know where we are university, where we are nursing training college, where we are teacher training college, and now unya jumanye ye posti wo, and now o man panyin bi a wo born to apre akonya kese wo man ni mu, ama anhoba asha wo bo say so no ba obi biara wa wie school a wutifia oni adwumanye no. Or the system be bad, that system is going to give you employment. Speaker, we are Sababa one hour was anchoring now. Sabrantia now you university, I said, what a summer boy, or Timmy Krumun Coco Equiancy, or T. Astromason Quanta, Adangomasi. Me Krumana me bubu you. We are Sabrantia and Sababa one. Now what is Sansam there we are. Speaker, Obedia Diana Winnie. Yeah. And it's a cocoa for the. Na koko ni kwe ni tifie na aban bi aba aban ya ba ye be fa free 400 and something ni ye de ko ya de chere ne ko do 3001. It was unprecedented. And aban bi ba no se no opanyi bi bo anto no se even 3100 na ye de amam no ya short change mo na ya na ke wa aban mu aba bi awiase koko na kwa koduru no. I was like, to me, turn about 6,500. Ya antokura mamu akuafo no. I was like, you turn 6,500 for you. Yes, sir, we are. Koko ni na udua koko no. oba no ko university a enya wo na wo betua ne school fees ye nim say tetete won ye nyini ko ye ka kokon komo me ka be because speaker I know say after my national service my first employment was a district manager for cocoa merchant ma to cocoa ba bi ni ma to cocoa ogoso so understand that sector and how it operates ye ka the deal so I forward you that time I was the youngest I was 25 years yes or less it is speaker
and it's kaba hoping
o mi nyami shira me ntem and there no doubt about that
so be any this can be it's more than
over there over ayaza aprowaketo hu aprawakese so bobo edi speaker na sa papa na ono ewo eye asumura de o akrodie fa ho ye den kasapin de be kan say a kire nsua enkasem kukuom wo se wo ba ne kokoo na MPP ne to ne 31 million yesisi no wo beto ne 65 million wo ya sa papa no ya sa maame no ya sa kokoo kwani na wo betie nkomo no be ye wo de yes we say obani ko university a we ko free man scholarship na ya wie kura no ko fo no ba bia wo no ye baba betu abula wo ho ye de politanka be siso ama na ko ba sesensuo ne nto a watimi dia awota wo no ba ye ne so ensam na ye wura ma ha makeka kire ye na de o eti eno no de obi abeka bia na omuntie the same enkomo no am for 24-hour economy by and let me tell you everything of akawa of Odikaka in respect of the 24-hour economy no I 100% agree with him. What is 24-hour economy? 24-hour economy no demand driven. When the demand is there automatically, let me ask you. Who na actually go into because they should run 24 hours? Yeah. Who na actually go into the for speaker? Who na actually go into the I would maybe a check. Sa check no. Osuje ni bi o nkra ha bi adibi.
Easily go on there.
Easily go ni wan bi aba me kire ho. Sa check no. Over one ababa ka check for this citizen omonya duma 24-hour economy you see the demand is there people are ordering from anopakosi ahmache speaker of God say o circle ana la pass ba bi o montonton force no one aka chom say e maba one ton force one monton ade anadwo ho the demand is there your friend ayemu bi wa afio rice e wa higher new town and yet obi na ebeka kira feel say because the demand for the rice at that time is there. Night clubs are do krom ha we anadwo no una aka kira so mo operate anadwo. So there must be a demand at the end of the day. A by way explanation of the man the 24-hour economy. Some of us feel say they were just giving those explanations just for their votes. 1:3:3:3. What is 1:3? And even among the NDC people, no, including their national chairman, when they were giving interpretations, explanations to what they assumed to be the 24-hour economy, now promising them, they were unable, none of them. Some of you, say, better watch another. Ebi say baby kwaku mi abiri kwaku bu ahen na one na bedroom. Kwaku say fufuo choba fo kroma nyina be operate anadwo. Who speaker? Eno adwa. Even kroma omaimu Ghana ha. Ope fufuo pa one of the popular fufuo nkrofo dia aboso okai. Wo beduru nkokwa a. Aboso okai ebo 6 o'clock 7 wo beduru na fufuo no ebi ni ho. Wo twamu kokuma na bia. Aboso okai. At the end of the day, the question is when the demand is not there, you cannot force it. And it drives on industrialization. So they don't fair canon. Oko America ni adi UK, America, Germany, nya babia no mo operate 24. Nya babia. Areas are the nature of operations or an enyuma like tema oko beko industrial hub one. I don't know how many year juma 24-hour economy.
You can operate normal 8 hours and serve your clients. And you necessarily say we be a factor chincha also around 24 because say demand you know data move to me too demand.
Why do you operate Mr. Speaker? Oh, say a passport office is near the oh speaker we ko dinner passport office and I do 2 a.m. I can say I the passport. I'm asking you a question. So everything they said about the 21-hour economy
it was out of place.
But you see at that time no na mindful na adwene ni nyina akoye say ye padwuma. So people were not able to as it is omantimi interrogate and as you scrutinizing yema na no mokeka kire yen no. Speaker has say na go back na kotie some of the tape campaign time yema yeru amahama keka ye pa we show. But when they had the opportunity and then 1 year down the line, catch them. A dear pan NDC, a monumental, a significant. They will tell you dollar number down.
Good board.
Okay, we are good board dollar number down. Okay, we are dollar number down. Speaker, says cement, a dollar no, a baby drew 8 CD, now who speaker. Who needs a cement in Untimin to be? And there are many workers say people have worked for more than 10 months, 11 months, 12 months. They have not been paid. It is the part of workers as $1 now. You see, when policymakers yet policies we assume say Ghana na crying Mr. Speaker. But let me tell you, when the MPP and another Nana Akufo-Addo, Kufuor about the flagship policy now health insurance. That time the health insurance was intended to address a very serious societal problem. What was that problem? Cash and carry. True or false? So ubi be yare no akwa yare sabi offer. Now on sika no obe wu. That was the kind of system we're running. Then on President Kufuor had health insurance, and across the country, regardless of where you are, everybody, every Ghanaian benefited from the Ghana health insurance. And when we were passing that bill, Mr. Speaker, the NDC boycotted Parliament that time. Nana Akufo-Addo over. Fast forward, what was the main campaign promise? Free senior high school and the World Bank, and not just World Bank. All the educational watchdogs, any policy are you for analysts across the world now say the free senior high school no so far is the biggest social intervention program ever as Abaso Africa. World Bank not long ago, World Bank confirmed said the free senior high school policy no,
but the challenge is
the biggest offer every you see when the Manu is speaker. Every policy speaker, every policy, policy challenges at the implementation stage. So when you formulate policies, at each stage of the policy, there's something, an action you are supposed to take. So the NHIS say, one best initiative. I don't know. I was a driver, the so-called 24-hour economy. No. Yes, there may be issues. So we are buying a Canada. That issues, the bottlenecks. What do you have to do? You go back to the drawing board. Now, why are you remodeling?
By MPP,
the NDC government use slogans and only deceive Ghanaians, especially the young men and women in this country. And only to me. But at the end of the day, and then social media and so almost more, hold your bank accountable more. Bruno. Mahama, a statement we are making. I make share video name Ramiam Simon and say to or catch the constituency chairman for say recruitment even into the security services. The constituency chairman, the party functional executives, no, almost man, for the topmost priority. And then party for say, cultural aptitude test, immigration. Don't want I am for but you see, we cannot use this means to say, you better that microphone here to me. Knowing very well, Sadiana, here can you buy into me, mom. The speaker, media, Krobea Asante, Ghana for Nankasano, especially the NDC party members, I don't know. Some people like Sami Jenfi, Erika J, no money at the end. So money on you. To catch us at Chen. No, Sami Jevupa can pay Awaji 1 year down the line. Boom. We won't pay to do Awaji so far. And then allowances. Now what was you after 1 year was a change? I cannot say. It's less than 1,000. I think about 1,000 days near Kwako to the next elections. NDC Mebuno, Moma money now. Why wouldn't you be an Kwana Econo? A Sansa, a Cheja. It's almost if you ask them.
Citizen by member should I mean to you?
Mr. Speaker, my main chair, when you are Krobea now, of Odike, over Akwaba. Akwaba.
So my quay yinaba.
Namsa Akwaba.
Nana Krakra.
Akwaba. Now, you see, just few days down the line, Namreka, one of our biggest challenge now, Ghana yenya fahuzi another slave master or control ye on my yenya the fahuzi here is excessive partisanship.
Correct.
And we can only have a total liberation and development of Ghana if we have become more patriotic. Political communication is one of our biggest problems in this country. Into all my expectations, we always have to meet those expectations. Even when it does not make sense, we need to meet it. Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Council.
If we want to solve the issue, BBT the 24-hour economy, if we want it to be a partisan objective, we will never achieve it. But for our customer, these things, it takes time. So for me, I don't expect to get 24-hour economy within 1 year. But you see, NDC, the way they spoke about it, the way they tried to explain it, did not make any sense. Because it will take a very long time.
50 years, 30 years.
One of the key drivers of 24-hour economy, or your energy. Mr. Speaker, beside you there, your energy situation in the year, if you complain, press. If you complain about the tariffs, I don't know, power and that within seconds now saying, is that what you are going to build your 24-hour economy
100
on?
Ghana a day.
Look our transport system, Ghana. Our transport situation. Is that what you are going to build your 24-hour economy on? Look at our security architecture. Share a street light crampo. So there are so many akazi the infrastructure it needs to be at a certain level. And sana, some of the things that we are talking about, it will happen.
So right?
Yeah, so the point is that on here a knee-jerk solution.
Thank you.
I always say that we need long-term planning to solve entrenched problems. But because you hear results in terms of that we do need jerk reactions. And they be all offense train. And we still want to go on that tangent. I still don't get it.
Thank you.
I still don't get it.
You are making my day.
Mr. Speaker, for instance, Yaka a one district, one factory. Why was that also a problem? Because the issue is that if you want what for can be raw material, now Commander Sugar Factory. Commander Sugar Factory.
Partisan.
Why all these years is still there? We're finished actually. And what was the problems we said? There are outgrowers. These were the challenges. I mean, sometimes I'm like, okay, the bandana, you be decided there. So, on money, yes, the next 20 to 30 years, this is our focus.
National policy.
Okay, Vision 2020.
Yeah.
Since you are 2020,
6.
Copic Vision 2020. Nebi someone there. Did we even follow it? And where are we? Ghana, we are measuring ourselves with. Mr. Speaker, so sometimes you ask people, Ghana, because we don't have one thing we are measuring with. We don't have standards.
Yes.
We don't have standards. So we politicians come and set our own questions through our political party manifestos. And we come and answer and say, yeah, manifesto, we have done 20% of our, 70% of our manifesto promises. And so what? It's not enough to tell us that you've achieved your manifesto promises. In your manifesto promises, and how has it advanced the cause of Ghana in totality?
Impacting on the people.
Yes. That is the most important thing. Else we'll be always marking time. And for me, if we think that because Makado had me a 24-hour economy, me a BBA obi dwindam my implementer will get it wrong. Because sometimes I hear the DVLA wait since I will be office or 24. I mean, when I hear these things, I get a bit angry. You didn't say you are going to run DVLA 25. When you say 24, our economy.
All the sectors.
It is not one institution.
All the
You
sectors.
understand?
Political economy.
Me go by office. Now me run 24-hour economy. Now at the end of the day, me expenses are higher than the revenue. What is the essence? It's a go by office or go for your juma 3 shifts. But nobody comes there. The productivity is zero. What the 24-hour market?
Se e ko ton poncha na jo. Se e ko e dey ewia kra ye ewia ye.
Na ofaya na wo trivialize. Wo trivialize ade no.
Na anadu dwa ye. Na wo ka se wo ko mi ko met makaskese anase ayi. Akwa kopie anadu dwa. Everyone about that time kra na e dey.
Na se je honko na e Ghana.
What's it every district?
By national policy must benefit.
Hey! 24-hour market.
So, Mr. Speaker, you see, that's where you need a very comprehensive approach to it. And I think that as a party, if you bring up an idea, now you get critics. Don't get a posture of being too overly defensive and make it look like it's more, punch hole. Then you have a problem with those people. For me, critics are the people you bring on board. You rally them and say, no, bring who idea now if he there over to achieve, bring it on board. You understand? And let's talk and see how we can practicalize the Minyame. Because for me, I truly think that when you say certain policies are or a ginger and Kofu think of outside the box.
Okay.
What started a worker 24 hours? Obi wa started all outside the box and thinking that Opedo ye bibi. The word one district, one factory made some people started thinking that I should do something. So yes, those things can generate there will be drained up ye bibi. But then we need to make it more practical and achievable. We need to make it more realistic. It shouldn't just be because me party manifesto. Into today I should bring it on board and leave it as Mimi project. Into say Obi Baya. Because you see, and I talked about political communication being one of our biggest being. The issue Ghana the Krobea health free
health insurance.
Health insurance, free SHS was not implemented just by one government. Because you see, if there were no hospitals and you say health insurance, what will happen? So that is why I should tell you that when we have a plan as a people, that this is what we want to do, we can get it done.
Okay. So
24-hour economy should not necessarily be the NDC for idea into say what I am be so about to action. That's why I cover something where and that is where the back and forth is.
May I say
we know.
That be employment. Mamina was saying, now, Mamimra of Azona Mintino, of Mamintio on the Iran, Israel, and then US, and to acquire concerning the impact full prices, and what was to say, na yendi and como. Mamintio when Honamembra Uniano Marcaso.
You more fast, Medasi. The Ricano, Yera Mama, a bear papa say. Obesesa edini 24-hour economy now. No I can just say ye be running enterprise economy. Enterprise economy now a metamorphosize into 24-hour economy. And is our over. Now Ujala na say call Lewon Meduko University. Also far a primary name one son would draw. In the 24-hour economy no. A ye idea event. This says you bottom now the bregan for. We must work on it. The enterprise economy, how are we going to empower the SMEs to be more corporate, to be more self-reliant, access to credit, look, maybe to say Ghana buffer. I was saying purely private. Now I say more companies who are moving these schools, no. I was saying made in Ghana. Then, Omoma Dua Moa Katsrim, a friend no mobile aduma. Bayere, banche mankani already no be work kwabre near for mankani 7 school. All these things, you know, a boost to local production. And make your phone how of a mumu bauma foam, of a access surplus nebano. Now your pebebia, you better add the value. It gradually across and no add in hoba. I can't jump or can't say you appreciate. She feed yourself. No need blueprint. But I was explaining my people got the bar in.
Okay.
I've no be a backyard garden. No be any other because it was practical. Ghana Bafa be JK Menu Kumasi Asam na American as food court and city food supply. Omi no me a private Bafa omi agent for the government. Ebi ama schools be 50. Una mo maduane akopem se be makwan. But we need local food. Call farm gate engage the farmers. Tony aneba. The farmers no ready market assurance. Masa, unim ahoya said na me nueke yoro mama bi kreti eke NDC ni bi say odike ma kwatena wa boma ba echi. We are pumping sense into you guys mind. It say the other fan is your own cup of tea. Iran, Israel, America. Look, the addressing partner say, now, you're a mama, no Krobea Asante. And ya as pump price of fuel or cost, whether you like it or not.
Oh, but say cost and
maybe that say crude oil $100 per barrel. Ebra yewra mama ye nyina we me pese minus partisanship.
Okay.
Ebra yewra mama dollar call forma crude oil $61 per barrel. The price build up no ene ade aye frɛ no automatic adjustment formula no edwuma ma Ghana ni bia I enjoy say fuel boa aba form. Baby aye duro no entimi nya saa. Yewra mama fa bite the bullet. Brabonte be catch Ghana for say. And sakraya be wiase amantokwa esi wo Iran. Yentimi continue enjoy sa fuel price lower prices no. Magana for nyawe that is how leaders behave.
But say deregulation e dey adwuma. Enti company be asset. I was surprised say companies in Ketuai from over the weekend ABC and Dra any end of pay. Go out there was cheaper than companies that can be brave.
And say depending will be our stock. But say CIA say stocks now what system they will fall on the new prices on the international market. Eti yesu free ntembu nso when ye kokko. Now because of political expediency. Now we drag it. Now for a palika. Ofri wa say o ko akato enti bibi the esla. Ye de aba ye de another levy ebe to Ghana for so aba na kwa na boyeka to o ma diska eti to recovery debt ye nchemtua amama ba ye o say Akufo-Addo ma anya ne maye enti ye de 1 cedi ato 1 gallon so. We don't want to hear this stories any longer.
Okay.
Let us face the reality. Say ya hama to na Yewra Kwame Nkrumah, the first president, I sorry. O see to near discover crude oil in commercial quantities in Ghana. But idea odinya the rationale behind the turn is say you need crude ni bi, but finished product no you can see a cry each finished product byproduct of crude oil e bia be take 1 vessel it be issue 8 vessel the dinema sa product na bagana freight charges on each vessel enya agro it yensi refinery no ne yanka crude no fa 1 ship mra ye ba ne be chichemu wa ha e be cost effective ama aboa
me dey say
sabra no na ye ni crude oil say enya crude oil ya running tema oil refinery down because of partisanship. MPP ban what the nipa betra ho. No ma no adem ya pa ya Kufuor be kro. Wantimi amfa one policy investment bi ankoto. Ana one mo kraba no OMC so se BDC so how you call them no
BDCs
aye ba ko mo ne sponsor no eti de be ya magana fo ato ye nya to na mum wo mo bo a party ye mo makwanya na wo mo fa ene mamra ene atan wa besi ne me de ma no si na de me kan say to ye betima a renovate to obsolete machines no a replace no with the new technology ye betimi a maximize the operational capacity to 60 barrels per day. Se ko do some pempens so na Centrum any other
companies
no you can ina boma betimi a process 90% of our daily need of oil byproduct of crude oil.
Of Amedas Mamembra Krobea
Asante pipe free Jubilee emra to na ye shares ye wo mu no yen to bi free abofro nka ho ne yen famfa ruben mu amra to ne yen no ano locally ne yenya self reliant on our your friends
95.1
lubricants and petroleum products. Eti we also my lessons. Yura mama ebesro. Mama said your COVID ba betri nyansa. Anya hwekwa Yura Akufo-Addo ka say nya agenda 111. Aye ongoing. We wake up call. Say ye ne be domestify oil shares.
Okay.
Na ye mitigate
Krobea Abraham
import of oil.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Krobea.
I think as political communicators, say we speak for the people of Ghana. It will be because now we are doing a disservice to the people of this country, and I thank me new citizen say or touch on the utility bills. Speaker, the truth of the matter is, despite the diet where some dollar phone a fuel a walk from near the cost of living in Ghana is extremely high. The cost of living in Ghana is extremely high. But Speaker, the amount of light bill
100 Ghana a day.
It looks to be a bit okay. But Speaker, countryside as well. Hinterlands. In Kronkitwaya, you free Kronkitwa. I always say, we cannot be swayed. Yeah, we cannot be swayed by the comfort and I forget to talk for the people. Speaker, I mean, conference every weekend. But the truth of the matter, and they say, Speaker, yeah, my man, Brenna, ECG for what's our places in the crowd here. The treatment of the Crawford to offer. What the car? If you are bill name. Meanwhile, people are not having any meaningful job. Oh, yeah, no quite form. But Ghana, no. I shall be na.
I'm a year and Mujawan say and answer.
Speaker,
I'm a year and Mujawan.
Ghana, your mamma, I'm about time crana. Oh, and then, of course, social media. Crawford now a dinner at them. Crawford, or it was known. I don't want to mention names. Omudin and Nado at no one can say at the name. Well, you know, credit. I'm kind of Nado, I'm mood and a bomb. I'm kind of credit. Anya Bianibia, me didn't have assassin. Mimi constituency. Kotea Abwashwa mobile. A brim constituency. Now you will chroma Akumaku 47 and Omunyan Kaniada. I buy Akufo-Addo, I buy a quaviano. Now out of Nkro 47, they move 44 and Yankani. I can just straight. Now, my Juma constituency, I've been a 2-term elected assembly member, I've been a presiding member. I know what I'm saying. If for nothing at all, communication should be local. Over my constituency, my district. Now, Krobea Akupekwe no Ayakamuko tal. Miami Kromo Kiansi and Kamukota, ne, a Kiansi, all the principal street in a Kiansi, Yakamkota. About 8 different towns. I
know the honor call.
So I'm not saying that, me say communication should be local.
No, I'm just saying that. And no, development about constituency. They say one call. And by virtue of maybe I would think.
I buy this say a boy. So all your political communication, you look at your immediate environment. Change the and Aquaswo, and our citizens they make country say, yeah, free baby nearby. Unless you don't want to be truthful. People are beginning to be conscious of themselves. Sotum, especially Adu Jamfi. na wuntimi fa car keto amfa papa bi alaji ona ne boaye o ma no abe reshape amaye and nessa and now nam so to man tie ku a e che say onam Islam o me boa onam Heaven Church onam Pentecost University. These are rare developmental people can feel, they can see it and your propaganda. Speaker don't catch what I say aba we ba ye no o ma lanche adwumawura no pa wo eso mfa so Ghana fo anya wo. What is the seed fund? What is the source of funding? Omo ba ye omo lanche Mahama Care. What is the source of funding?
One constituency, 1 million every
year. His Excellency the President already a State of the Nation address. Also, how much you go 7,200 for nipa 13,000 people. That mathematics you move and we care my young fancy why we all put into cooperative bodies and watch it. The truth of the matter is that almost 2 years in year, we cannot feel anything. All the campaign
$8 million
all the campaign policies, all the lofty promises. I'm the man 24-hour economy. Cocoa forever basis polytank. You better cocoa boom. Speaker, ask yourself this question: which of them are realistic? Which of them are Ghana for me do one dance here? And I'm not making go call the blue app on the show, call the new media app on the show. The people that are talking, one guy be minimum. Or you one person every week be an postuma NDC, also a businessman. And then or say the on one kasada to nanumu to say they track back and say abani say be babyano. The people that are benefiting from it then you no. But that is their problem. But the truth of the matter, and they say Akuafo Breni and Mino as a speaker, Oko farmers, there are more than 1 million people almost suffer almost bread. And then speaker many workers say teacher for suffer almost bread nurses. Suffer almost bread. Which sector of our economy? And then name it say who speak a crowd to a central for more bread. Which sector of the economy? And then which sector of the economy? And the speaker apart from Erica J, you know some medium fee Abbas Nurudin no more. Abayi ba ye omwato omaja minu anu mo hwe o skin and kasakura totoso. Eye we are branch any ababa metia ya na mi kwan ya speaker ye sorry ye na ye brei. Abani ba no hye wani munya but then unya ba bi tena. Don't forget about Emranti and Maba one amudu omukoni na nwura edom twa ahasuo edom ko tete ateche eyadwuma no and then it appears a lot of them they have forgotten about them and those are the people complaining and as a citizen kind know politicians in this country it's about time I was a circumspect we should be measured because the kind of promises we give to the people speaker and also can be
false hope
of Odike to me akotro book the union book and pen message of our setter of Ankara union book meaning the book now you know said hey the truth of the matter is that speaker people are some politicians are not committed to the things they say Nana Akufo-Addo Kufuor well need 6 months the crown was started yet put measures in place to implement the flagship program that is the free senior high school from the first 6 months. First 6 months. And speaker, the kind of importance as our policy they are bahe. Uko school be to presec achimwata prempe at this other college in France Pima. Speaker, not intake to media fano. And then school facilities, if you are able to utilize it, I'll be the best benefit out of it. Okay. First, I can be a presec with me for first years by 1,000 because of a double track system. No. Speaker, no, I'm to frank 2000, 2005. And I saw the cry and first service and second service. I sorry, I make a PIWC or dog. You call first service. And you're 7 to 10. From 7 to 10, you're poor second service about it. So if the facilities are there and there can be an initiative to get the most benefit out of it, what is wrong with it? But look at how you're bastardizing the program, the double track system. No? American advanced countries need they do double track. It's me.
And no be an amonso more the 24-hour economy.
24-hour economy. That's the question. Nobody is against if I was even against the 24-hour economy. Now Ghanaians have given you the opportunity. And they can afford their 2 million amount.
The mandate.
Now you have the mandate. So show to the Ghanaians that you meant what you were telling them. Show to the people and show to the proof Krobea who doubted it. When Akufo-Addo said that he was going to implement free senior high school, those in the political divide, almost say it's possible. Even if it's possible, it is going to take us 20 years more. Now that Akufo-Addo got power, he held the bull by the horn. Within 6 months, of the first year, we implemented free senior high school. No? And then the free senior high school, whether you like it or not, and your recognition to the extent that World Bank in their report as the biggest social intervention program for the whole of Africa. Speaker, I mean, sometimes the propaganda, the gimmicks, and we can do it as politicians. But the reality test is that the people of Ghana will hold you accountable. And there, and Crawford, change your more, Saketa, and Crawford, and Ghana for they are not watching them. They are watching them. They are watching them. And I mean, when the time for accountability comes, it will begin from home. Yes, the charity begins at home. And then MPP for now, NDC, I appointees Serenia Basel. I'm not telling about home. What do you say, Speaker?
Me that's a Krobea, my member citizen, so I mean, and I am called citizen, I mean,
so 1 million one constituency.
It's about US.
Topic will be favorite. One can want some cry.
Debbie. Mr. Speaker, women that I'm baby in America there. I send me a man and I catch him there. I know you're to be now. I saw an inua, wash no more, with Jan more ye. Warabon, I don't know what boy, as soon as boom, name you no see. Eh? I don't know one bono, but boss room, name you see. So sometimes, I don't know, go for bay. I don't know, maybe now. It's a China, I can't change in Pandemary, or the problem be brain. At the end of the day, our attention, you might bear the consequences of most of these things. And I'm referring to this Iran, Israel, US situation. Me say in the Strait of Hormuz.
Hormuz, yes.
And when there, most of these ships and tankers pass through that strait.
And Iran controls it.
And most of the ships, especially these tankers, you know, they are very expensive. It's about $150 million per tanker. None of these tankers, if you ask anybody into logistics and transport, none of these tankers now will move without insurance. And about 90% of these tankers, you know, the insurance companies, you know, it's about 12 maritime insurers, insurance club that will handle most of these things. And most of them are withdrawing their insurance because it's not safe for them. Hey, now insurance company call insure a tanker no a miss and go $150 million. It's high risk. So they are withdrawing. And therefore, none of these tankers are also willing to move without insurance. So there are bigger issues beyond my hierarchy king.
Oh, but I know the Ghana had we are safe. We are very much safe citizens. Sankomo we over Kakura Ghana for when you're ready to listen. We are safe. Even Iran crowd you was in Ukraine. Speaker, I'm refi. Iran citizen you mean I already before the time back when Iran from baby tea. There's no way I won't talk about bomb to the Middle East, Qatar, Kuwait,
7,000 kilometers.
And Ghana. No, you are very much safe.
I don't know Ghana.
Ghana, you are safe.
Yeah, Mama say
Ghana, you are safe.
7,000 kilometers apart.
Speaker, one I bet you have better Chroma. NDC even better TV so and radio so and so information center. And I catch Ghana for say you say Iran America for grow mudi economic effect on Ghana.
I don't know petrol.
Just a million citizens that person cancer.
It is petrol.
Will not say that.
It is petrol.
No. Okay.
But that's a citizen festival me dey
Anyway, but Dr. Baumia also said that global phenomenon cannot pass Cote d'Ivoire and enter Ghana. You understand? So you see, this is all about this political.
We need a union government. Party time why
Mr. Speaker, so you see when these things happen, Ghana we need to and Africa we need to sit up.
Okay.
And that's why I'm saying I know all your to be what is Ghana doing at this point in time? What is Africa doing? The African Union, they be America there after. What are they doing? Because more Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana are wash cocoa. There are some African countries who produce cocoa and
Togo, Nigeria.
Why don't you say that you are setting up processing companies in Ghana and Ivory Coast. Every other place in Africa, bring your cocoa to Ghana and Ivory Coast for processing. Now you ship to the world to get more money out of it. Why are we not saying that there are some countries that are producing, even Nigeria, crude oil? So other countries are more Nigeria because they have the facility for it. Now 1 year, 9 years, to be benefit from it. So Africa, AU, instead of always waiting for some issues, unnecessary issues, now they want to cough and act like they exist. You know, this is the time for them to make their use full, not less.
Okay. For just 1 minute, my time Nash.
Jedikano, Ghana for MPP and NDC, they are much of a muchness. And some of more can we move blame you, Ramamano. One more time, Kufuor can't say, baby. I've heard a overcan was it when Jemaya I am trying to from an fix. My brother said the council kind. Organization of African Unity and a friend AU, no. Omo ya a toothless dog. Omo she no enkoye. And I'm say, Omo episode united Africa from top bottom. But African unification, no, a bottom up approach system. 1.4 billion people and a chef form. Now move 52 president. Most Mubaka African boom. And yadi be. So we need a standard constitution. My entire continent. A bit protecting every business investment in each of these countries. A part of AU. Your constitution. Ebia and Sakai Bemoa. Ebia minor a war pertaining to ebia culture, traditions of ebia a particular country. But we have to get a standard constitution. Obi o Nigeria, obi evuse wo Ghana, obi o Ghana, obi evuse wo South Africa. What it means is say emre boni abedi no Ghana no. Sa mra no ne nhihye ni na no. Uko Cote d'Ivoire sa ne.
Okay.
Yande be ma a business ahoto so say me the factory ko Ghana na me Nigeria ni a. Emra na bo me ho ba o Nigeria no, eno na bo me ho ba o Ghana. Then we can, put our resources together. Then we can trade.
They're okay. If I say after guidelines, after laws,
after no, an institutional framework, but we need a constitutional, continental.
Yeah, but I know
of any models. They have me we
think outside the box.
And no still now be here institutions to prepare.
Because institutions no.
And for instance, movement of goods and services. African Continental Free Trade. Say all the 52 or so countries, see a bit and I mean the barriers arrangement that is what they are.
But why is it that it's not impacting?
But you see, the challenge.
It may take time.
Mr. Speaker, the challenge of it is that when institutions are pushing for that agenda, the countries are also looking at their revenues and interests. And some other countries now will support one behind the scenes. If they realize that their interests will be affected, they will make sure that you, the president, will not agree to some of these things. But if like he's saying, if the governments have come together and say this is our constitution we are working on, it means you are under a certain framework or force.
Perfect.
Speaker,
just 30 seconds.
This one, the last one, just before you come in, Wafaka BB about Fango prices now, Mama. You see, I don't understand Ghana. We manually operate automatic adjustment formula.
Yes.
Why do we manually operate automatic adjustment formula? Election year, automatic adjustment formula on over the years.
No more kremu.
Why?
Speaker,
probably young quiet.
The Professor Mekan say, and the Babunu Bia and this share of Bossa Obamu Jumayan, hold them accountable and take your job.
Okay. MPP and DC Ghana. And my friend PPN
hold them accountable and take your money.
Musi factory.
Oh, they are not
I process cocoa.
I dear Baku, I'm sorry. na meti say any of the NDC communicators or government officials ebeka say on try to convince us to accept say what is happening between the Israel, US, and then Iran no, can have any economic effect on Ghana.
Oh, but the effect in
real terms, no.
7,000 kilometers.
Ghana we have our standard. Yeah, when you acquire first to appreciate issues that happened globally. Yet, yeah, there cannot be any external shocks.
There was 7,000 kilometers apart.
So far as speaker, Ghana Nibia, or better say NDC radio. So catch us say, and the petrol boy about the and Namamono, because of what is happening between Iran, Israel, and US. Catch almost say, we are not ready.
Another president,